They are unsure about the snow. It's your guys' first snowfall, hey? What do you think? Hey, Parmesan? Good morning, you guys, and welcome to today's video. I am currently enjoying some coffee. I just went out to the chicken coop and to make sure that they had food and water for this morning because we are officially in winter. So you'll have seen from the clip before this that we got a lot of snow yesterday. So while I'm working on some knitting and having some coffee, today is going to be all about the first snow of the year. So it started snowing yesterday, which was October 21st. And it snowed for probably like a good 8 hours, like right until nighttime from about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I think. But unfortunately this morning we woke up and we no longer have internet and we no longer have cell service. So because it was a really light, fluffy snow, it's most likely impacted our cell lines somewhere along the way. So as of right now, we do not have any cell service or Wi-Fi, which just means we turn to things that don't require it, like knitting or books or puzzles or board games when it comes to entertaining ourselves. But that also means that we can't really contact anybody. So for all of our traveling trips, we do have the Garmin InReach Mini. It's a satellite communicator, and so this is, at minimum, we're able to update important people in our life. Hey, no service. You can send preset messages, or I just type them out customized. So I sent a message to our parents just to let them know that they will not be able to be in contact with us until this is fixed. Unfortunately, because we're not able to access internet or call anybody, we have no idea when this will be fixed. So I'm hoping that it won't be out for too long because my job requires access to the internet in order to be able to work. But if something does continue to happen and I'm not able to get access to the internet, then I will just keep myself preoccupied and try to get a message out to my boss. So that is what's been going on so far this morning. Yeah, just really hoping they'll be able to get that fixed pretty soon, but that is part of living so remotely in northern Saskatchewan, is that there really is only one line coming up the one road. So if there's any issues with the line or the road in terms of power, internet, cell service, just being able to drive the road, we really are isolated. So that is something that I'm okay with. I don't get too claustrophobic per se, and I just kind of settle in for these longer times and just focus on other activities until it gets fixed. But that is one of the downsides of living so far north. And also that we get our first snow so early in the year. It is really, really beautiful though. I'm sure you guys could tell from that sunrise clip. So that's kind of the first major update for the day. We have some work to do on the chicken coop today, and I'm going to show you guys how I know that we need to work on it using our little wireless thermometer. Well, winter is officially here. This is the temperature inside the chicken coop. And I did go out and check and the water was frozen, so I've put their heated water in for now. But today definitely we're gonna have to finish winterizing the chicken coop. And that's the pumpkin they carved last week. So this is super handy because I'll show you the little part that you put inside the coop, but it records the lowest temperature and the highest temperature over the last 12, 24 and 36 hours, and then this is just the house temperature inside as well. But yeah, so this is super handy, and I picked this up at Home Hardware in Assiniboia actually. But yeah, so we are going to be getting the water better fit through the door and finishing putting up some of the last pieces of plywood and just making sure the coop is working. All right, so just temporarily I have the cord running through the door, but I think we're gonna run it through the vent up there. So let's just check and make sure that it's working and see how the girls are doing. Oh, hello girls. Hi, I see you're kicking everything everywhere. Are you enjoying your pumpkin bits? Hello. Parmesan's still up there. You guys are definitely staying inside today. This is your first cold day. It's currently -6 Celsius. I'll put a conversion to Fahrenheit up on the screen here. But this is that wireless transmitter that gives us the temperature inside. And it looks like the water is working. Might want to fix the angle on that because it looks pretty full. But we are going to run the cord up to the vent, and then hopefully it'll be a little bit easier to close the door. Hey, what do you guys think? Is it cold today? See, you guys have been playing with your light and your fake eggs. All right, so we have ran the cord over to the house where it plugs in. We got part of it trenched in, but unfortunately any of the yard that didn't have grass, the ground is already frozen. So we'll have to do that later. But the girls have been staying inside, so I have had their run door open. Yes, Buffalo. Thank you for the story. I have had their run door open, but the wind is coming in from that direction and they're really just not even bothering going outside. So I've decided to just close it and see if it'll warm up the coop a little bit. But we have some girls up on the roost. They have their food. They have their nesting box, which they still haven't used yet. But you can see that the water is still keeping the water as liquid water. So that's really awesome that this is working so well. I do have it on a stand to help keep bedding out of it and keep them from digging things into it and help it keep a little bit cleaner. And it did get down to about -6 Celsius last night, and it did stay completely thawed, which the last water that didn't have the heating element had already froze at that point. So that's good. We've given them some of the scraps from yesterday, some sprouted peas and some carrot tops for a little snack. Giving them some extra protein when they are in cold weather can help them stay warm. So that's what we've been doing through either scratch feed or through extra kitchen treats. Hey girls, what do you think? Is that so? Oh, hello. I really have to build them a better ladder for the roost because they just end up completely flying down from it. Right, girls? I'm gonna stay back here to try to stay out of the wind a little bit. As most of you guys know, this is my first time keeping chickens. My first time keeping chickens in winter, and this is my first coop. I can definitely now for sure say the one thing I wished I would have done differently is put in some kind of window. There's pros and cons to having windows. It's harder to keep heat in the winter, and it can create a greenhouse effect in the summer, depending on the orientation. However, because of how we did the roof and the ventilation and just kind of capping everything off on the edges, there's really not a lot of light that gets in, which is okay. That's not a bad thing, but I do think it's going to impact the girls' laying. As you know, egg laying is triggered by the photoperiod of light, or the amount of light that the chickens see in a day. And because it's cold and windy and they're not coming outside, they're getting significantly less light because of it. So whether or not that will be enough of a decrease to not get eggs hardly at all winter, or if it's just going to cause them to lay fairly irregularly throughout the winter period, I do think it's going to impact our production. And that's okay. I am not having these chickens for a survival mindset. They are a hobby, they are a mental health benefit, and they are partially slightly little bit of pets now. But they are also intended to lay eggs. They're still young. And next summer we should get lots of eggs from them, especially in the spring once daytimes are lengthening and the weather starts warming up. So I think we will see a very strong summer of egg production. So they are still going to hold their purpose of giving us eggs to use in our cooking, but I have lowered my expectations for what to expect for this winter so far. So it has been 2 days since we had our first snow now. As you guys might have seen, we did have our internet and our cell service get knocked out because of the snow. So it went out at about 11 p.m. on Saturday night, and it didn't come back until about 8:45 p.m. Sunday night. So we were 21 hours without cell service or internet. The only reason I was able to post an update is because our neighbors have Starlink, and because it is satellite based, they still had internet connection, and they very graciously allowed us to tap into some of their internet for the day just so we could update family on why we wouldn't be responding to any text messages. But thankfully they did get it fixed. It just took literally all day. So that is definitely one of the major issues with snowfalls up here. Luckily, we didn't have any issues with power. Typically, any power outages in the winter do get fixed really quickly, but we don't seem to have as many of them in the winter. We seem to have lots more power outages in the summer. So that's been really good so far. And then of course, with it now officially being in the negative temperatures and everything freezing, it's time to, we've brought out the warmer winter boots, we've brought out the warmer jackets, the toques, the mitts, and as I'm sure any Canadian can tell you, if you're from a warmer climate, the key to being able to be outside in the cold is layers and having duplicates of everything. Because if you're out working and your gloves or your toque or your jacket gets wet from the snow, especially if it was a wet snow like this one was, and you don't have a second set of clothes to wear out, you can never dry out your clothes, and that makes them really ineffective at keeping you warm. So we have baskets with lots of toques and mitts and scarves and cowls and kind of anything else you can think of layers wise. We have multiple sets of base layers, multiple different jackets and sweaters and ski pants, so that we have lots of different clothing material to keep us warm. So maybe I will do a video on layering in the depth of winter in the future for this channel. But anyways, that's going to be everything for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions for me, as always, drop them in the comments below. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any more updates from the farmstead here. So we will see you guys in the next video.